anything remotely resembling what Adam Smith considered capitalism or the free market. You have what I think we have in this country today, which is a form of corporate socialism. And it kills me when these guys call me a socialist, because, you want to look at socialism, look at Halliburton. I've been doing this work on our Constitution. I was in Philadelphia the other day, and I went to what used to be the State House and, Independence Halls, where the Declaration of Independence was signed and the Constitution was written and signed. And there are not federal police there guarding this sacred American site. There are rent-a-cops from Wackenhut. And I know Wackenhut because they're one of the biggest operators of private prisons in this country. They've got a very sweet deal from the government. This has nothing to do with capitalism, with free markets. This is corporate socialism. And so the absence of the access to information serves these purposes beautifully, beautifully. Another low point in the history of American journalism, and this is just so trivial. It's just so trivial, but it just so bothered me. I don't know how many of you saw the YouTube video of Karl Rove breakdancing and doing a hip-hop thing. Well, the NBC Washington correspondent was right there with him on stage doing it. I think his name is David. Is it David Brooks? Gregory. David Gregory. Shameful. Absolutely shameful behavior by a journalist. You don't have to destroy these people. You don't have to hate these people, but a free press is a press that is independent of the sources of power, whether it's corporate power or governmental power or religious power. And, going back to the days of the Founding Fathers, the Constitution of the United States did not include a Bill of Rights, and it never would have been ratified by the states unless there was a Bill of Rights, and it was the freedom of the press that was considered central to the practice of democracy in this country. And we have really, really lost sight of that. So we need outspoken criticism, and we need independent thinking, and we need it from the press. Now, I've given you a very, very bleak view of this profession, and maybe I've persuaded some of you to go into an entirely different line of work, but I love my job. I really love my work as an investigative reporter. And if you just step back from the mainstream kind of journalism and the conventional kind of journalism, I think at the same time this is one of the darkest eras in the history of American journalism. It's one that offers tremendous opportunities for a young journalist. There is no shortage of really important stories and really important subjects that nobody is writing about, because everybody is like waiting outside to watch Paris get released from jail. There was the other thing that was stunning to me, stunning to just think of what's happened to journalism in the last 30 years, is there was one photograph of Paris Hilton that was plastered everywhere when she was being taken from her home, distraught, crying in the back seat of the squad car. It was in the New York Times. It was in newspapers all over the country. And the guy who took that photo was the same guy who took the classic Vietnam War era photo of the young girl half naked running down the road having been hit by napalm. I can't remember his name, but, pardon me? Yeah. Well, no, different. Anyway, so while the pack, while the horde is chasing after Paris Hilton, there are no shortage of things for you guys to write about and to care about, and they don't have to be big national issues. They can be what's happening in your town, wherever you're going to college. They can be what's happening at your college and what your college's policies are on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these important issues, that link you one way or another to the wider to the wider world. So if you want to be a muckraker, there could not be a better time. There is more muck, there is more corruption, there is more wrongdoing right now than there's been maybe in 100 years. And you just, You know, you throw a rock in any direction, and especially where we are right now, my God, just any direction, you'll see something worth investigating and worth writing about. And I have found my work incredibly satisfying. To be able to care about something and write about it and then have other people read about it is unbelievable. I mean, most writers want to write about what they care about. And I would really urge all of you to do that. Ultimately, that's what's going to bring the greatest satisfaction. So I'm going to end this rant and then take some questions on a really optimistic note. And it may sound strange, given all the stuff that I just dumped on you, but I happen to be very optimistic. And if I wasn't optimistic, I would not bother doing the work that I do. I genuinely believe that most people in this country are well-intended. There's only a very small percentage of really nasty, devious people. Unfortunately, they're highly motivated, well-funded, and have a disproportionate amount of power. But I've traveled all over this country, and it sounds so corny, but most of the people in this country mean well and want things to be good, not just for themselves and their families, but for other people. And I genuinely believe that once they have knowledge and information, they do get more power and are willing to support the right sort of things. And I've seen incredible changes, in recent years. Now, I've talked to people on the left and liberals who are very depressed about the possibility of change and kind of overwhelmed by the weight of change. And, if you feel that way, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you want to change things, you start changing them. And if you don't believe in the power of a small number of people to change the world, look at our White House right now. I disagree with almost every single thing they've done, but they didn't suffer a moment's doubt about their ability to change the world. Hey, we didn't win the election? Doesn't matter. We're going to take power. We have no right to wage this war? Doesn't matter. We're going to do it. They have profoundly changed America in a very brief period of time in ways that I think are horrible, but they had no doubt about doing it. And I think that, change is possible and change is necessary. I mean, when I was born, black people and white people couldn't sit in the same sections of movie theaters, couldn't use the same bathrooms. I mean, when I was born, the idea of Nelson Mandela being president of a free South Africa, that would have been like a drug-induced hallucination. Nobody would have possibly believed that. Or the idea that the Berlin Wall, would come down without a thermonuclear war accompanying the war coming down. These things were inconceivable. So these are momentous social changes in my lifetime. And some of them were entirely achieved by people your age. People your age who believed that change was possible and necessary and set out to do it. And I was meeting with some union guys here earlier today, and we were talking about just defeat. I can't tell you how many union speeches and drives I've been involved with in the last decade, and I feel like the kiss of death. Every union drive I get involved with seems to end in failure. But then there's the one that doesn't. And I was involved in one this past year that didn't. And it just may take being willing to put up with a dozen failures for that one victory, but that one victory moves things forward a little bit. So if you guys really want to write, and you guys really want to do it the old-fashioned way, we need you desperately. And there is no better time for it than right now. So that's my rant, and any questions you have, I'd love to try and answer.